joined. This is Shalaya with Scott Leroy Marketing, and today we are going over setting your goals for 2024. So we're going to be setting our goals for next year through Command. So this is going to track your appointments and tracking your closings and allow you to set goals for yourself for the end of next year as to what you would like to take home financially. And this system will tell you what you need to do in order to accomplish that. So we're going to go ahead and jump in and take a look at what that looks like. So we're going to start by logging into Command here, which is going to be youragent.kw.com. If you have any trouble logging in, remember the username is not case sensitive, however the password is. So if you're having trouble, you can click on the little eyeball icon next to the password box, and that will give you a preview of your password to be sure that is keyed in correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and click sign in here. So before we do get started, I do want to be sure to point out that you keep in mind that Scott is not a licensed real estate agent. So these goals and numbers may look very different on our end than they will on your end. You may even see some zeros across the board because of this. So because of this, your numbers will likely look very different from what you're seeing on our page here. However, the setup process as well as the maintenance process is going to be the exact same. So once we're logged into Command here, the first thing I want to show you is the Command dashboard, because a lot of agents may not scroll down and go through this page, and it does have a lot of useful tools here. So right at the top, you can see we have our tasks here. And then to the right of that, we have our product updates. So any new updates to any products that have been coming out. And then under tasks, you can see is where we have our goals located here. We also have some other items here. So we have some events over here, your profit share information, recent leads you can find over here, as well as a notepad where you can leave notes in here for yourself. So you can simply type in this box here and click off, and it will save that note for you. So you can also rearrange the items on this page. So if you want your goals to be the first thing that you see when you log into Command, we can go to the top of this page, and in the top right corner, we have this button to customize. So if we go ahead and click on that, this is where we can select to add or remove widgets from our dashboard by selecting these checkboxes here. And then on the right side of this pop-up is where we can rearrange our widgets. So we can click and drag our goals up to the top if we want them to show first, or we can move things around on the other side as well. So if you want your leads at the top, you can adjust those there. Once you make your changes to this customized page, be sure you click on apply to save your changes there. I'm going to just close out of this and leave ours how it is here. So now as far as our goals go, you're going to see a few options populating here. So we have leads, we have appointments, under contract, and closed units. So this here on the dashboard is going to be a condensed version of your overall goals. So once we dive into the goals platform, you will see a lot more options as far as tracking your goals. And once you set your goals, you will notice that this will begin to update accordingly, in a sense that your percentages will start to track based on what you are doing within your transactions. So for leads, as you obtain your leads in your database, that will start to raise your percentage here and work towards your annual goal. Same for appointments. So appointments will be tracked based on your opportunity. Your opportunity date will need to be added, and your appointment dates will need to be added into your opportunities in order for this to track here. Under contract is going to be the same thing. Once your under contract date is added to your opportunity, this will begin to update accordingly for you. And then closed is also going to pull from your opportunities once you put in your close date and move your transaction to closed. So this is going to track every step of your transactions to help you work towards your goals that you're setting. Most of the time, when an agent reaches out that they are seeing a discrepancy within their goals, this is usually due to the information being plugged into the opportunity incorrectly or not being plugged in at all. So you do want to make sure you are adding those dates and those details into each opportunity transaction. So another thing to note is that your goals won't trigger until your office goes through transmittal, which is usually within the first few days of each month. So if you do not see your goals reflecting or they're not reflecting the correct information, this may be because that you need to wait for the following month's transmittal to be processed. Goals are typically about 30 days behind because of this. So over to the right of this is our GCI goal breakdown. So as far as the GCI breakdown, this is also something you want to keep an eye on, and you will see that it does state in some areas that it is tracked based on your opportunity. So this is going to track based on where your opportunity is within your pipeline. This is going to pull your percentage to your overall goal as well as your estimated total GCI here. So as far as how we set our goals up, this information is going to automatically plug in here. And then your percentages will start calculating based on those transmittal numbers, as long as your closings are being added to your opportunities and you are tracking your appointments and adding those leads into your database. You will be able to see all of your activity tracking here for you. You can also change your view between year to date and month to date by this drop down arrow here in the top corner of this widget. So you can view your month to date percentages, and then you can view your overall year to date percentages. So now that we have covered this brief preview of our goals, we can go ahead and jump over to the actual goals platform and be sure that those are set up. So we're going to head over to the reports tab. If you are still getting familiar with what each of these icons are over here, you can click on the red KW in the top left corner, and that's going to bring out a description of each icon here. So we're going to go ahead and jump into reports. So once our reports loads, you can see that there is many options in here. We have a database overview here. We have reports. We have our goals. We also have lead routing, emails, and texts and calls. So a lot of neat features here in the reports tab. So right now for today, we are going to jump into goals. So we're going to click on goals in this top menu here. So as long as your goals are set up, you should be able to see all of your updates populating within this tab here. So once we go through setting your goals for next year, once the new year starts, you should be able to see all that activity in here. Or if you have been with KW for a while and you set up your goals for this year, you should be able to see all of that tracking in your goals section now. So you're going to see these arrows here in between each section. So this is just tracking each step that helps you work towards your goals. So just like that widget on the dashboard, you have your leads, your contacts, you have your appointments set, appointments kept, and then you have your agreements. So this is going to be starting your transaction agreements here. And then you have when your transaction goes under contract, and then when your transaction closes. So again, this is going to track through your opportunities. So be sure that you are always tracking your detailed information and putting all your dates into your opportunities and your transactions, just to make sure that your goals are tracking correctly. Also, always remember that this is going to reflect your previous month's activity, as your numbers will not reflect properly until after the following month's transmittal. So these are always going to be 30 days behind. So we have some sort options here. So if we click on this drop down where it says show all, so we can show our goals for all, or we can see just our goals for our listings, or just our buyers, or if you are working with leases, you can see just your lease goals. So if you want to track your individual transaction items within your goals, you can set those there. I'm going to set this back to show all so we can see our overall goals here. And then just like our dashboard widget, you can select from this year, so year over year, or month to month here. Also in the right of this, you will see this compare toggle here. So if we click on this, this is going to give us some comparison issues. So if we drop this down, we can look at comparisons with agents in our market center, agents in our state, or under all agents, we can look at top producing agents, agents in my production bracket, agents in the production bracket above mine. So if you want to compare your goals with goals that other agents are setting, you can select that compare toggle there and take a look at what those look like in here. Right below that, we have our profit tracker. So as you work through your transactions, you're going to start to see these percentage bars fill up. And this will track your transactions throughout the whole year, and you'll be able to keep watching that go up as you are closing your transactions out. You will also see that there are some color codings here. So we have on track, on watch, and on alert. So we have green, yellow, and red. And if you hover over them, it does give you a little description of what each are. So on track means being at least 100% towards your annual goal. On watch is going to be 80% to 99% of on track value. And on alert is going to be 79% or lower on your on track value there. You can also, again, click this drop down and view month over month or year over year. And this will keep track of your transactions until you reach your annual goal that you set for yourself. Down below that, we have a few other things here. So we have an activities breakdown. So this is pretty much what it sounds like. This is going to track the activities that you are doing within your command to help reach your goals. So you will see we have this little color graph here. So the more activities you do, the more you're going to see within your color graph. So you'll see for ours, we have 50% smart fans and 50% notes here. So if we were doing anything else within our command account to reach our goals, you would be able to see those tracking there. Next to that, we have our goal conversion rates. This is going to show you what the conversion looks like from getting your leads down to closing your transaction. So this is going to help give you a little bit of a visual of how many of your leads are actually closing, and just keep track of that conversion rate a little bit for you. And then next to that, we have our GCI goal breakdown. This is going to be your estimated year to date, and this will track how close you are to setting your final goals based on your closing transactions. So you'll see right in the center here, it does let you know that this is based on opportunities. So once again, always be sure you are putting all of your details within your opportunities. Be sure you're moving them down the pipeline the way you need to be, just to make sure that your goals are tracking the way they're supposed to. So in order to start tracking all of these items on this page, you first need to set your goals up. So to do this, we're going to go ahead and go back to the very top of this page. And we're going to go to the top right corner and click on Goal Settings. Once we click this, this is going to redirect us into this Kelly guide, which is going to walk us through setting our goals up. So we're going to go ahead and click on Get Started and jump right in here. So once this loads, we are going to work on the left side of this page here. This is where we are going to be able to key those numbers in and put our information in here. So this should automatically set your year for 2024. If by some chance it is sitting on 2023, you can just click that drop down and drop it down to next year. And now we can start keying our numbers in here. So the first thing we're going to do is set our annual profit goal. So this is going to be the amount of profit of your business earns before taxes and after subtracting the cost of sales and operating expenses from your GCI. So this number is going to be the total number that you want to take home at the end of the year after all of your expenses come out. So again, your numbers are probably going to be very different from what we are playing around with in here, since Scott is not a licensed agent. So I'm going to bring this one up a little bit. So let's bring this up to say 500,000 here. So next we have our expenses and our cost of sales. So for expenses, this is going to be any expenses that are made for your business, whether or not a transaction takes place. So any salaries you might be paying out, if you're paying any admins or anything, any lead generation, marketing expenses, any trainings that you might be paying for, business cards, anything like that, anything that you are going to spend on for the year, you want to enter in this box. And you probably don't have an exact number that you're going to use for the entire year. However, you can throw an estimate in here. So for example, if you plan on spending, say, $1,000 a month on marketing, then you know right there that's going to equal $12,000 at the end of the year. So you can kind of factor that in, how much you plan on spending each month and what you plan on putting towards your business to come up with your expense total. So I'm going to leave this one set at 12,000 for ours here. And then next to that, we have cost of sales. So cost of sales are going to be expenses that are made only when a transaction takes place. So this can be splits to agents, it can be splits to your market center, any brokerage fees, referral fees, anything related to your transaction that you might have to pay out. That's what you can put in this box here. And again, this can be a rough estimate. You might not have an exact number in your head at this time. And you can also always go back in and update this if you ever need to. Once you set your goals, you can still go in and make changes to it. So next we have our business makeup section here. So in this section, we're going to set the percentage of listings and buyers, as well as leases if you are doing anything with leases. Any of the items that are going to make up your business for the year. So if you are primarily a listing agent, you may have a higher percentage under listings than you would buyers. If you are primarily a buyer's agent, you may have a higher percentage under buyers. If you do an even amount in each, then you could set these to 50-50. So I'm going to set leases to 0 here. So you'll see that your markup does have to equal 100%, no matter which box you're putting that into. So I'm going to change this to 50% listings and 50% buyers here. And then next we have our average commission per unit in your area. So here is where you want to enter in the average commission amount that runs in your area, or maybe the average commission amount based on the sales that you typically make. So we're just going to adjust this here since we don't have any percentage under leases. That's why that was getting a little mad there. So I just dropped that to 0. And then I'm going to leave the other two as they are. So that's going to update our center here, as well as our GCI breakdown all the way to the right here. So once we update our numbers here, you're going to see that the color wheel and details all updated to the information that we keyed in on the left-hand side. So this is going to give us our overall total that includes our expenses and cost of sales. So this is going to be what we need to make in order to reach our total profit that we set. And it does give that breakdown down at the bottom. So we have our profit goal, our cost of sales, and our operating expenses. So that just throws everything together in one total amount here. So you have a visual of what you need to reach by the end of the year to reach that goal. So now that we've put our numbers in here, we can go ahead and hit continue in the bottom right. And that's going to bring us to our conversion rates. So we have a couple options here. So on the left-hand side, we have this toggle to either set our rates individually. So if you want to manually enter your conversion rates here, you can do that. So you can enter your information for listings, and then you can enter your information for buyers. So this may differ based on the type of business that you're doing. So if you focus more on buyers, your conversion percentages may be higher than your listing conversion numbers, and vice versa. Now, if you do not want to enter your numbers manually, you can leave this toggle off and you can use recommended rates. And that's going to auto-populate the recommended rates, which you'll see is the same across all 3 boards here. So if you do ever set your numbers individually and you make a mistake and you want to clear it out, if you simply use recommended rates, that's going to reset your numbers here. So you can always go in and reset this or change it or update it at any time if you ever need to. So now that we have our conversion rates set up, we can go ahead and click on continue again in the bottom right corner. And that's going to take us in to review our goals here. So you'll see on the left, we have a preview of our conversion rates. On the right, we have a preview of our GCI breakdown with that color wheel there for us. And then we have our business makeup. So we put in more listings than buyers. So you'll see that in that bar there. And our average commission per unit that we entered in there. So if everything in your preview looks good, we can go ahead and click on the set goals button in the bottom right. And again, if you ever need to make any changes or updates to your goals, you can always go back in and update it if you need to. You just want to make sure that you are setting your initial goals by January 1st to be sure that those start tracking right away. So if you set your goals up and you realize you made a mistake or you want to change your numbers around a little bit, you can go back into this guide at any time through that goal settings button and update this or make changes. So once we click on set goals, that brings us right back to our goals platform here. So again, if you need to make any changes to your numbers, you can just simply click on that goal settings button up here. And that's going to take you right back to your Kelly guide. It's going to save your information in there. And you can just go in and update your numbers however you need to. So once you set your goals, we can change this here from our 2023 goals to 2024 goals. And that's going to bring up a fresh, clean slate here with our new numbers that we set up. And you'll see there's this countdown box here. So this is a countdown to when your goals are going to go into effect. So we have 12 days and 12 hours until the new year begins. So that's going to track that for you. So you'll see everything is zeros across the board. Everything is a clean slate. And this will start tracking once the new year starts and you start working your transactions for 2024. You can always toggle this back to your previous year's goals. So if you did have your goals set up for 2023, you can continue to view and track those until you begin focusing on your new year. So that about wraps us up for setting our goals today. If you have any questions or run into any trouble when setting these up, you can reach out to us anytime at support@scottleroymarketing.com, and we'd be happy to jump in and take a look for you. Thank you for joining today, and I hope you all have a great rest of your week.